We're going to call the meeting to order. This is the April 28th, 2026 meeting of the Johnson County Board of Zoning Appeals. We'll do a roll call. I'm Chris Campbell, and I'm here. Mr. Canary.
Here.
Mr. Gray. Here. Mr. Hoffman.
Here.
And Mr. Taylor.
Here.
All members were provided with a copy of the minutes from the last meeting. Are there any additions or corrections to the minutes? If there are none, I entertain a motion to approve.
So moved.
Mr. Gray has moved to approve the minutes from the last meeting. Do I have a second?
Second.
All those in favor of approving the minutes, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Minutes are approved. Let's see here. We have one continued petition this month, D-1-26, and with that, I'll turn it over to staff.
Good evening, Michelle Hanser, Director of Planning and Zoning. A continued case V-1-26, which is at 4912 Olive Branch Road, Greenwood, Indiana. The petitioner was Darren Vicky Pointer, represented by David Gilman. The request was to legally allow in a 2,400 accessory structure, where all accessory structures total 3,150 square feet in building area. Not to go over the whole petition, if you need to, we can, but the petition was continued in January 27th, 2026, to allow the petitioner to be compliant with building plans and to remove issues with the property. Since January meeting, the property owner did apply for and was issued a building permit in April for a primary resident addition. Once that condition is constructed, it will increase the square footage of the primary structure sufficiently to allow the large accessory structure to currently exist as presented, without any issues with violations of the ordinance. So then the request variance will no longer be needed. However, because the application was applied for in April and issued in April, the staff would recommend that the board give, and construction has yet to commence, so violation in essence still exists. Just because you have a piece of paper that says you're going to do something, you have to do it. So given the history of this case, the staff recommends the board grant another 90 days extension to ensure the property owner fulfills the requirement of the issue permit and shows evidence to resolve the existing violation. So now that they've shown that they applied for a permit, let's give them the chance to actually start the construction before we say that they're actually going to fulfill the requirement. As far as the spoils and the concrete and the debris, David Gilman just sent me an email saying the property was cleaned up. I apologize. It was supposed to be on my list last week when I was doing site visits. However, I totally spaced it until today, and then I realized I didn't go by to verify that the property was actually cleaned up. So we'll take David Gilman's word for it, unless somebody has been by the property themselves and see the property, but they said that they did clean up all that extra concrete debris and stuff on the property. So that's the brief summary and update, unless you guys want me to go into the details of the variance again.
Any questions for staff? Council, if we do approve the 90-day extension, we need to go through the comments.
You've already heard public comment on this. We swore everyone in. We heard the petitioner's petition and request. We heard the remonstrator as well. We've had public hearing requirements. There's no need to conduct a further public hearing. You can make a motion if you find it appropriate. The alternative, you still have an opportunity to approve the variance and adopt the findings of fact, or deny it. But my recommendation, as staff recommended, would be to require another variance.
Does anyone on the board have any thoughts?
I just have one question.
Okay.
When we talked about this a few months ago, the house, none of the construction inside the house had been done. Now they want to add on to the house. Have they done anything? You said they cleaned up the spoils in the backyard, which is a big problem. Have they done anything to repair the house at all that was gutted?
I mean, since they applied for the permit, that would include the house as it in the addition. So I don't think they've done anything with the house. since then.
I don't think the staff's request seems unreasonable. Does anybody have a motion for or against?
I'd move to continue, V-1-26 for 90 days to, do you need a date? I don't have a date.
July 27th, 2026,
So I can-
which is the Monday before BZA.
It has been moved to continue this case for 90 days to what would be July 27th, 2026. Do I have a second?
Second.
Mr. Taylor seconds. All in favor, say aye.
All right.
All opposed? Motion passes. Okay. Our next petition is B-3-26, Rockland Christian Church. With that, I'll turn it over to staff.
B-3-26 at 4430 Rock Lane Road, Greenwood, Indiana. The petitioner is Rock Lane Christian Church, represented by Vanco, I apologize, I don't know if it's Inc. or .com. The variance request from the Unified Development Ordinance is for allow for a 39 square foot monument sign face that is 5 feet 8 inches in height. That will be electronic, that would include an electronic message center. Trying to, it's working. Okay, there we go. So the subject site is located in Clark Township. It is approximately 20 acres, zoned SR, single-family residential. It is home to the Rock Lane Christian Church. The property is surrounded to the north and east by smaller tracts of land used residentially, and to the west and south by wooded land zoned agriculturally. This is the aerial of the church. The red circle indicates the existing sign. And this is a bird's eye view of the property. And then if we need to see the drive around, to move around the site, here is a Google Street View where we can go into, but to the right, you can see their current sign that's kind of that uses like a bell type structure, and then they have temporary signs at the corner. As stated, they are seeking a request from Development Standards that will allow for a monument sign. The monument sign face is proposed to be 39 square feet in area, where the sign ordinance allows for 32 square foot sign face. The sign face height is also proposed to be 5 feet 8 inches, which is greater than the 4 foot allowed. And also the monument sign does contain an electronic message center, variable message center, which is not allowed in the residential agricultural district. For the proposed sign location, this is what the sign will look like. On top will be an internally lit cabinet sign with an electronic message center on the bottom. Overall, the height of the sign is greater than 5 feet 8 inches, but our sign standard is written as the sign face cannot exceed 4 feet. So it's the whole cabinet of the sign. The proposed location, as you can see in the aerial, is kind of going to be located in the little island between two parking spots near the corner of the intersection. I can go back up. So kind of right in this area is where the proposed sign will be. It will replace the existing monument sign because they're only allowed one per property. As far as the electronic message center, it would replace the old reader sign. It will allow for information to be displayed in better format to be viewed by patrons and motorists. The sign is located at least 300 feet from the residential lot to the north. The sign will be at least for structure to the north, which is the garage. So the house to the north here, there is a house that was in the wood area, but the garage side of the house is is just about 300 feet from that sign location. The staff did provide findings of facts that are in support of approval of this variance request. It is a monument sign within our sign regulations with small deviation. It's not a gross deviation of request. It is 39 feet versus the 32 square feet. It is to allow for the stagnant sign of the church along with a sign message that can be changed on a routine basis. Staff does recommend approval with conditions. The conditions on the board are just slightly different than the ones in the staff report. I meant to update it with our ordinance requirements. These are the 4 standards that are located in Chapter 3, Section D7, which is our standards on electronic message centers in commercial districts, which go over no movement, flash, or scrolls. The message of the sign cannot move or appear to move. Flash or scroll is stagnant display. The sign must be a constant of 8 seconds. Shall have an automatic dimmer, and the illumination of the sign cannot exceed 700 nits or 30 minutes before sunset, and all those illumination requirements. So staff recommends approval with those conditions, as similar to our other signs that we would allow. Any questions?
Letters you got?
Oh, yeah, sorry. I do have letters that I did email you guys, but just in case, I do have letters from two letters from neighbors, Ann Robinson and Wade Robinson.
Where's their property located?
They are to the west of the property. They own the farmland to the west. Both of them, I think, are family ownership.
That's okay, I have it.
Yeah, okay.
I read it. When you said it had to be, go off at night,
I mean, this is one of the conditions in the staff report is a similar condition that we use for another church in Samaria, off of is it 144 Samaria? Or
135.
135, sorry. That is, electronic signs to be turned off, and therefore it meant no light between hours between 11 p.m. and 5 a.m. That is, again, that's a condition that we used on another church in the county.
it's not the whole sign, it's just the message board
Yeah.
stuff. And is the sign that they have on the street corner, the vinyl sign or whatever that is, that's sitting out there, not their permanent sign now, is that legal to have it out there all the time?
Did you ask if it's legal to have it out there all the time? No, we're not technically supposed to have temporary signs like that.
So they not have that anymore?
They can probably answer those questions for you.
That requirement on the illumination, that's probably a typical, I think
Well,
I did that on another church.
The 11 p.m. to 5 p.m., yeah, is another church variance. Like I said, I copied, obviously within our ordinance with electronic message centers that are allowed in commercial districts, we have that item D of illumination, especially after nightfall. That would not be applicable if you guys decide to use the other one, that it must be turned off between 11 p.m. and 5 a.m.
Question. But the one you approved, we approved before was in the town of Samaria, wasn't it?
Was it the town of Samaria?
Yeah, right there, that church.
Yeah, I mean, I don't technically, that's what the area geographic, yeah, it's that church that was there.
Yeah, we did that at Samaria Church, and I believe we did in Nineveh too. Same.
Maybe. That was the last one we did.
There's Lauren, you know, she's right, it's possible to marry.
Uh-huh.
Any more questions for staff? Okay. Anyone wishing to speak for or against this petition must take the oath of a witness. The petitioner is allowed 15 minutes to provide their case, of which then any remonstrators are allowed 20 minutes cumulatively to voice their concerns, and then the petitioner is allowed 5 minutes for rebuttal. So anyone wishing to speak for or against this case must stand and take the oath of witness now.
Please.
Both of you can.
Yeah, please stand,
We don't
please
have
raise your right
to say
hands. Right hands. You swear affirm on the pen, perjury, the testimony about to give the truth, whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God. Okay. When you go to the podium, state your first and last name and your address. Okay.
I am Patrick Shy with Venadco Signs, 320 East Walnut Street, Argus, Indiana. I'm actually filling in for Lauren, who actually put all this stuff together. I don't see how it could be a problem. We can turn the sign off from 11 to 5, like she said. It wouldn't be a problem. It'd help them out with energy, all that kind of stuff. So I see no reason for that to be a problem for them. Based on what she said, there's no other surrounding properties within 300 feet. And I don't see how that would be an issue to anyone around them, because it's off every night. Any issues with it? And you said something about all the other signs that are non-permitted now. All those would be gone because they'd all be on the message center. So they wouldn't have to have all these banners and stuff on the property. They could all just put them on there, follow what you want them to do, and go from there. Other than that, that's pretty much all I have for you.
Questions for the petitioner?
Yes. Which way is that sign facing?
I honestly have no idea which one it is.
Tom, come over to the
North-South Road?
It's facing, if I'm in traffic, I'm coming from the north, right? I'd see it. But if I'm coming from the west, I would not see it.
Thomas,
Four-way stop.
we need you to speak into it.
Hey, come on.
I can't hear you.
The microphone so that she can get recorded and your name.
It's like, it's a four-way stop, so when you come to the stop, if you look left,
Right.
you would see it.
Tom, I need you to give us your name and address
Oh.
on the record, please.
Thomas Doherty, 7364 North, 750 East, Needham, Indiana.
Go ahead, please, thank you.
So it's far enough away that it shouldn't distract from traffic as you come to stop, but yet that size, they could quickly read what's on the sign, I think. And like I said, we're going to do it, we've always had those banners there, and the wind blows them, and, so we'll do away with the banners.
Okay.
I know, we talked about getting rid of that sign around the bell. You saw the picture of the bell. It just said Rock Christian. We've always put service times on there and stuff, so we take that away. Now, Ann Robinson attended the church 70 years ago. She wanted to keep the nostalgic part, and I thought, it's kind of nostalgic maybe to leave that just as Rock Lane Christian Church, wouldn't be any message on it or anything, but I don't know how the planning and zoning feels about that, but if she's wanting to keep it nostalgic, it'd still have the old, it just say Rock Lane Christian Church. No message or anything on it.
Is the signs you're using now, are they illuminated?
No,
I mean, shining on.
just, there's lights that shine up on the church, and so that kind of lights the area. And there's in the middle of the pine tree there's a security light, so it reflects down on the banners.
This is your time for any more questions for the petitioner.
I got another one. Yeah, go ahead.
Go ahead.
So the people to the north have you talked to them personally?
Yeah, well, they've been notified, same way, yeah.
They're okay with it?
A couple of them attend the church, so I guess they would have said something if they,
Okay. All
the
right.
very first house moved there just a couple of years ago, so they were pretty well aware of the church was there
Yeah.
when they moved in.
Okay.
My only question would be, why did it have to be too high and too big a face and have a rear port, which all required variances? Was there a reason you had to pick the size that you picked? I mean, could it have made it to the 4 feet, or could it have made it to,
Well, I mean, I don't think it's
32
really
square
how
feet?
hard 4 feet for a sign is to meet, like, it's hard to see, it's small, especially with being that far from the road, I mean, and when we get these message centers, they're designed to be a certain size, so that's kind of how we create, we want the message center to be a certain size, and ID kind of reflect that, so they kind of show each other. I don't know, I guess we maybe could bring it down, but I don't think that would be reasonable for what we want.
Question. So, the 4 foot, whatever it is, and the 5'8", do you sell signs in between somewhere? Put each one.
Sometimes, yeah, but they would be limited probably to just a message center and not have an ID, because it would be so small, and the scaling of these things, that size is not reasonable
Okay.
for businesses, it's not. I've never seen someone that 4 feet high as max. I haven't been doing this very long, but usually the 6 is the standard, and that's reasonable to get with, but 4 is kind of hard for businesses to grow and want to do these kind of things. It kind of hinders these kind of companies in a sense, so.
Okay.
So the whole sign part itself, the lit part,
Yeah, so this would be this part and this part.
that's the 5'8", but
Yes,
the
so
message sign is
And this is
just
just,
four.
this just covers the steel. So
Right.
it's just to show the steel.
But the youth group part there, that's just the message.
Yep, yep. Mhm.
The other is
Just the
just
ID.
the name. Will it be lit,
This little, yes, we're just the
which is
words.
this letters lit, the other will be what change?
Yeah.
Okay.
So you're telling me that when it says youth group, that is 5'8", or all the way to Rockland Top Christian Church is 5'8"?
From this point here to the top of the sign is 5'8". Just this section is 3'8".
Okay.
so really the whole sign is 7 feet, 8 inches?
But, I mean, do you consider this part of the sign?
I don't know.
That's the question in most
So-
towns that they don't know either. So-
Well, I do know. And so the sign face standard, as I was trying to explain during the presentation, the sign face standard is the square footage and the height is at the issue. So we say the sign face cannot exceed 32 square feet in the sign face, which is the face of the sign per se. So this 5'8" part cannot exceed 4 feet. The overall height of the sign, which is later explained in the sign ordinance, says it's 10 feet for a local road, which these are actually higher end road classifications. So they do have, so it could be typically a little bit taller sign if it needed it to be. But we're not talking about the overall height of the sign, we're talking about the sign face.
Next one is 32 feet. Any further questions? 64 feet.
Does the sign ordinance say so many square feet per side, or is that total?
It's usually a uniform understanding that it is there are some sign standards that will say one-sided, but it's usually interpreted to a double-sided, double-face sign, or typical signage. So we only typically measuring that one side face.
Anybody else? Do you have any further? No? Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
I did not see anyone sworn as demonstrators. So we'll move on. Do you have anything further you'd like to tell us? Okay, with that, we'll close comment. Any further questions or comments for staff? I have one if I can find it here. Does the highway department have concerns of distance that a sign is supposed to be from an intersection?
So I don't have a specific answer to that question, but I can make, based on the assumption, they do not have a concern with this because, one, they did review our UDO,
Okay.
and they also do get a copy of the staff report before the petition, and they have yet to tell me that there had any concerns with this.
Okay.
May I ask them again another question?
Absolutely. We need to come back up.
So, so the sign's gonna be 300 feet from the road, is that correct? Or is that
From the
ridiculous?
nearest property is what I understood, correct?
Correct.
Now,
And
how
that's
far is it gonna be from the road?
at least 15 feet.
Yeah, it meets the standards of your
15
requirements.
feet.
Yeah, yeah, but it meets your requirements for that purpose, yes.
Okay.
And
That was one
you,
thing.
the church has no problems with the 4 restrictions, the conditions.
I wouldn't think so, no. I think those are perfectly reasonable, yeah.
Okay.
No.
Anyone else?
This is for staff. So if I was hearing right, this has come up like 3 times so far.
Yeah.
And are we happy with the wording of the UDO?
Yeah. So, and to answer your question, so we've done, as far as I can recall, and I didn't look into history, there are particularly, I think, 2 churches that we've heard variance requests on electronic message centers. One of the main things that we focus on is because we do have some churches out in the middle of nowhere and some churches in the middle of residential clusters. We obviously want to make sure we're not impacting on any residential use. So like if there was a house across the street or nearby, you know, those lights can be illuminating to somebody's living room. And so that's why I emphasize in the staff report where the closest resident is and that it is on the garage side, particularly for that house. And obviously they were notified, but I think that's why we always allow them not allowed by right for us to see if it's appropriate for where these particular businesses are located.
Not sure if it's during your time before, but there was also Center Grove schools. We had a bunch of variances on some signs a while back. If you recall. Same issues.
My only comment to us would be 11 o'clock seems a little bit late. I think it's different if it's in like a town or a business area versus way out rural. I think 10 maybe is a little bit late, and I think maybe 5 a.m. Is a little bit early. Maybe, I don't have any problem with the church putting up a sign in a message board, the great marketing job says youth group on it, or youth needs all that they can get. I don't have a problem with that. I guess I have a little bit of issue with the hours, and I'd also want to say that if we're going to do this thing that it's over height, over square footage, and has a message board, all 3, then it should be stated somewhere that that's it. No more plastic signs on the corners or any other signage put up after this. Because they ought to be able to do everything on the reader board and not have to have those banners out there. Which I think is more of a hindrance, actually, from a safety standpoint, being right on the intersection.
For staff, I don't like the idea of that big a sign. I've been down there before, and I thought the sign they have now was too big, to be honest with you. So I think the sign's too big. I think that I agree with Mike on this. In a country setting like that, it shouldn't be 11 o'clock at night, it shouldn't be 5 in the morning. So I'm disagreeing with both of those. And then, so that's kind of where I stand right now.
Yeah, but we take everything on I don't necessarily disagree, but I know there's times, when there's things going on. But I guess I'm looking at, if that's a standard that we have, and it's not right, then we ought to change the standard and make everybody fit it. I mean,
The size or the times?
Well, I mean, it comes down to the sign. I mean, there's a difference in where the last two churches that I recall we did are a lot closer to the road than what you guys are, or what they're wanting to do, which means the sign really ought to be a little bit bigger to be able to read it better. You see what I'm saying? I know Nineveh Church is really close to the road. Samaria had to be that far off, I believe, from NDOT, was a requirement, because of the state highway there. But I don't know. I mean, if that's a good number, I mean, as long as we're all the same, I think we're okay. I don't see that much difference, I guess I'm saying.
Well, we've run into this before with, I can't remember, but it seems like for some reason the 4x8 sign is restricted for the programmable messaging signs. Because I think that's been an issue before. Mike, I agree with you and Jim on the time. I think the time's kind of random there for that location at 11 and 5. So, anybody have a motion for or against B-03-26?
Can I ask one more question first?
Absolutely.
What would the two of you think better times would be, and then I would be willing to make a motion? I don't want to make a motion and say 10 to 6 if you think somebody else thinks it should be 9 to 7. Something in between.
No, 7 a.m., 10 p.m., something like that, maybe?
I can go with that.
And I guess I would make a motion to approve the sign, which is a little bit bigger face, has a reader board, is a little bit over 5 feet 8. Is that close enough, or do you want to say that part for me?
Yeah, I'll help you out a little bit.
Okay.
If I were to make a motion, my recommended motion for approval would be to approve case number B-03-26, incorporating the staff's conditions presented during the presentation, with the exception of the sign not being illuminated between the hours of 10 p.m. and 7 a.m. on a daily basis.
And I'd like to add one more thing.
And you want to adopt the findings of fact for the petitioner and what else?
I'd like no more vinyl or any other kind of temporary signs that out on the street.
That's a separate issue. That's an enforcement issue.
Well, I mean, yeah, so everybody that lives within Johnson County has the rights to display a temporary sign within reason, like 30 days, 10 days, whatever. With us approving the sign, I don't really know if we can just say that they're not allowed any more temporary signs ever. They just need to be more in conformance with our temporary sign standards.
Okay. My motion, what he said, in place.
You got it?
Yes.
All right, good.
Okay, it's been moved to approve by Mr. Hoffman, utilizing the 4 conditions provided by staff with the adjustment of 10 to 7, yes, the hour, no light between the hours of 10 to 7 instead of 11 to 5. Do I have a second?
Is that three conditions or 4 conditions?
There's 4 conditions. There's 3 listed in the staff report,
Oh, okay.
but there was 4 in her presentation. She had a 4th one that had to do with the illumination level.
Oh, okay.
Not. Do I have a second?
Second.
Mr. Gregg is second. Okay, Mr. Canary,
Yes.
Mr. Gregg,
Yes.
Mr. Hoffman,
Yes.
Mr. Taylor.
No.
I'm going to vote yes. Motion passes 4-1. Okay, moving on. We have no old business, no new business, no reports and recommendations. entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Mary's moved, all in favor, say aye.
All right.
The next Plan BZA meeting is May 26th, day after Memorial Day. And my two Plan Commission members, that is the following week from our Plan Commission meeting. So, something to keep in mind. We do have two applications on the agenda. Two or three? Two.
And I've been out there.
For